Welcome back to this series looking at RAD terminology. In this video, we'll be focusing on words starting with the letter F. As always, I'll be referring to the RAD dictionary. If you're interested in having a copy, I'll leave a link below, but I'm not affiliated in any way, so this is just in case you find it helpful. And as always, I won't be going through every word in the dictionary, just those that I feel are either most helpful or most common. Starting off with failli. So failli in French literally translates as narrowly missed. But in ballet, it's a jump made of a C-sewn and then a chassé through into arabesque. So typically we'll start croisé with the feet in fifth. We will jump up. But in this C-sewn, we're actually going to stick the legs together in the air for as long as possible. Before they eventually open, release, we land on our front leg. The back leg will then pass through first position in a chassé that takes us into an arabesque croisé, and we'll finish on straight legs. Arms can vary, but usually we'll start in bras bas. They might open to demi-second and then perhaps finish through first and in a second arabesque. Fermé in French means closed, and in ballet this refers to the ending of a step where the feet finish in a closed position, for example, fifth or third. So for example, you could have échappé sauté fermé. We're going to finish in fifth position here, rather than just an échappé sauté where we could finish in second or fourth. Next we have flic-flac. I love a flic-flac. So you have two different types of flic-flacs. You can have a flic-flac without a turn or with a turn. I think they are most commonly done with a turn, so let's describe that version first. They can be done en dehors or en dedans. So if you're turning in towards the bar, this is en dedans. You will start with your working leg à la seconde, and the working foot will be hovering off the floor at glissé height. You'll begin en fondu, and then this working leg will brush to coup de pied devant as you begin your first half turn in towards the bar. The working foot will gently touch the floor, push the floor away, and go to coup de pied derrière for the second half of your turn. If you're going en dehors, it's the opposite. You will start with the leg à la seconde, glissé height. Then you will brush the working foot to coup de pied derrière as you turn away from the bar. The toes will touch down, push the floor away, and pick up to coup de pied devant to finish. Then your flic-flac can also be done without a turn. And so this is the same thing, but we are not turning in towards the bar or away. You're staying put. The supporting leg, however, will still pass on to demi-point, and the working leg will still brush either devant and derrière or derrière and devant. Next we have fondu. So fondu in French means melted, but in ballet this refers to a bend on one leg, not to be confused with plié, which is a bend on two legs. So we have battement fondu, and we have a movement that can be done en fondu. So a battement fondu is an exercise we do at the bar. Typically it will involve the working leg retracting into like a coup de pied devant position, both knees bend, and then we will extend the working leg and the supporting leg at the same time, and this could be done to the front, to the side, or to the back. However, a movement that's done en fondu refers to a bend of the supporting leg only. So for example, if I did an arabesque, I would have a straight standing leg, but if I wanted to do an arabesque en fondu, I would simply bend that standing leg. Same with a coupé. I could have a coupé devant, where I just pick up my front foot to coup de pied devant and then close it back to fifth, or I could have a coupé en fondu, in which I would bend my supporting leg. And your battement fondu can be done either à terre, and this is where the working leg extends to a dégagé position with the toes touching the floor, or it can be done en l'air, and this is usually at a 45-degree angle, so like a battement jeté height. Next we have fouetté. So fouetté can refer to a few things. You may know the very famous fouetté turns. So fouetté turns involve a series of turns on one leg where the working leg extends out à la seconde and retracts back into a tiré, and it can sometimes go from the front then à la seconde and into ritiro. However, if we're not referring to these kind of turns, we're referring to a rotation of the body. So the word fouetter in French means to whip. So it is a whipping rotation of the body. If, for example, I started with my leg in dégagé à la seconde and I wanted to fouetter into an arabesque, I would pivot on my standing leg, pivoting on the toes, never lifting the toes up, only ever lifting the heel. I would push my heel forwards, rotate my body away from the working leg until I ended up in an arabesque position. If from this arabesque position I wanted to fouetter into a dégagé devant, again I would pivot on the toes of my supporting leg, I would turn inwards towards my working leg and stop when that foot is in front of me. So as you can see, a fouetter can be turning away or towards the working leg. It can be done en fondu, so this is where the supporting leg would be bent. It could be done sauté, so this is whilst jumping, or it could be done on demi-point, en relevé. Next we have frappé. Now I can't remember if I included this under battement frappé in the B letter word video, but just in case I didn't, frappé comes from the French word to strike, and in ballet this refers to the working leg starting in a flexed position around ankle height of the supporting leg. The working leg will then strike the floor, brushing along the floor to a pointed foot, and then it will retract back to that flexed position. We can do frappés going forwards, to the side, to the back. Typically frappés are done at the bar, but if you're familiar with the RAD grade 5, you'll know that we also do them in the centre. However, they're not to be confused with petit battement, even though petit battement is sometimes included in a battement frappé exercise. Petit battement involves a pointed foot, and if you want to see a demonstration of this, you can refer to my B letter word videos. So that concludes this video on words beginning with the letter F. I hope you found it helpful. If you would like to check out some of the other videos in this series, I'll leave a link on the next page to the playlist. If you don't already, please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.